All right, we're going to get started with the Power Hour for today. Always this time of year, and honestly, the convention is always a good thing personally for me because it gets me starting to think about the next year. And honestly, if you're not already thinking about next year, then you wait till January, it's going to be you're behind the eight ball. I mean, for anybody who's doing business, if you're not getting in an agreement in the next two couple weeks, the closings aren't happening in 2017 anyway. So most agents, 2018 business, if they've been in the business quite a couple years at least, I would say at least a quarter of their business, if not a third of their business, should already be in the pipeline. It's, I'm going to think about, I'm probably going to wait through the holidays before I list. But yeah, if the right thing came along, I'd probably put it in an agreement, but I don't want to close during the holidays. Or, we're probably going to wait till early spring. So you really got to start focusing on building your pipeline for 2018. And even having those conversations, be like, okay, I know you guys didn't, buy this year. You guys decided to sell this year. You're going to do something in 2018. So having those conversations now and filling your pipeline now is really what you can start doing. A lot of agents take the holidays off. They're like, okay, I'm just going to slow down at the holidays. I'll get back on the phones.
Work harder during the slow times.
Right.
Because, and the truth is, listings are, always have been, and always will be the name of the game. The more inventory you get during the slow times, the better off you start the year off. You're running while others are saying, oh shit, I got to go get some inventory.
I really, as a company, think we need to focus on listings. We're going to try to bring some more opportunities for training on how to go out there and find more listings in the coming months, because at the end of the day, listings are the name of the game. If you've got good listings and you market them, you should be getting good buyer leads off them too. So, he who controls the inventory controls the market. It's always been the case. It's always going to be the case. One of the speakers at the convention, it was actually Brian Buffini, said, all I hear, he's a funny speaker. I know he's coming to Providence. If you guys get a chance, you got to go to Providence to see this guy live. He is ridiculously good.
Do you know when he's coming?
It's in November, early November, but he's really good. And he's like, all I hear all day long is, inventory problem. We got an inventory problem. He's like, there's no inventory problem. You have the inventory problem. You don't have the listing. It really is just true. People that were getting the listings had a very good year. Is it easy to find listings nowadays? No, but the work is worth it, honestly.
Go to physical open houses, do open houses, not the neighborhood.
Right. Call streets. I mean, we could talk about some prospecting opportunities and things you should be thinking about in that, as we go along. But you really got to start thinking about your 2018 business now. And you should be kind of figuring out what your pipeline looks like for 2018. Is anybody using a spreadsheet or the pipeline that I developed to track your business? I don't care if you use mine, but I really believe that you have to have something that shows what you have for potential business and where your business stands today. If you don't have this and you want me to share it with, it's a Google Drive spreadsheet, so I can copy it and share it with you, and then if you use Google Drive, you have a Gmail account, right? So I'll share it with your Gmail account, and then you can put that in Google Drive, and you can add your clients to it. And what it does basically is at the very bottom, it's going to basically give you an adjusted net income number. So if you stick a prospective business in here, buyers you're talking to, sellers you're talking to, anybody it may be that you potentially can work with, and what their price range is, and let's just stick one in here. Not 20,000, 200,000. say you got talking to John, he's thinking about buying a $200,000 house, it calculates it across, it calculates your split, and then at the bottom, it pulls that number into the prospective number. But then, depending on what level of perspective you put in there, I would say you want to put anybody in there that's a 20% chance of closing. I mean, if you really work them hard, 1 out of 5 will close. And if it calculates it across, it's only giving you credit for $700. So you added John in there, it's a $200,000 purchase if he buys. You're going to keep following up with him. He's not out looking at properties yet. He's just kind of talking about it. I'm giving those a 20% weighted score. So you've only actually earned $7. You know how that, you see why I'm calculating that way? Because I can't count him as, I can't count him as full income. I can't count him as half income. I can count him as, all right, if I had 5 Johns, I'll close a deal. And I'll earn $3,500, but right now I only have 1 John in there, so I've only essentially earned $700. Each section has a different weighted score. So if you're showing buyers properties and they're serious and you want to move them up into the buyers viewing homes, you might give it a 50% score if you really think they're serious. If you really want to be a little bit more conservative, maybe change this to like 33%. And again, it'll calculate your numbers based on everybody's buyer you're out showing houses to. It has a listed section, so anything you got listed goes in this section. And then anything under agreement goes in the section with the dates. And basically it's saying for every under agreement, you have a 75% chance of closing that. So that's basically saying 1 out of 4 is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
You may get lucky and you may get all 4. But at least you're calculating based on the chance that shit's going to happen. And then once you move it up to closed, then you get 100% basis on that. So it's a really good way of, personally I look at it every day. And my goal is to see how can I get people from prospective into buying or listed, and how can I get them under agreement. And every time someone moves, you just basically, okay, John is now moved up, so I can right-click, copy, move John into buying, paste, and now delete him out of prospective. And now it's moved up, so now it's got a 33% chance of closing. So now I'm getting more credit for that. So it's just a good way to look at your business and say, hey, where am I at? You know, and if you have this built right now, you'd have a kind of good idea. You'd say, okay, well, these under agreements are going to close this year, but then I got my close, but what are my listed buyers prospective? And you could look at these 3 categories, and you could tell what's my potential business look like for 2018 right now.
Well, I have to say, that is way better way than what I'm doing. I just have to, try already for it. Pretty much all the serious ones go right on there. So that way, each shows pretty much the same thing like over here, You got to meet them, already got them on the contract, you are going on the board, price range, and, follow up. Every Monday, every Wednesday, there's a fund.
Right. I used to do that too. Personally, I like this because I could have 40 lines of prospective business.
Yeah.
And I constantly look at the prospective business and say, oh shit, I haven't followed up with that in a while. I need to give them a call. Like I've got a listing I've been working on for 12 months in Shrewsbury. She keeps fixing to get her house ready. And I looked at it this morning, I'm like, oh shit, I got to give Jackie a call. It's a good reminder. You could never probably keep that many people on a dry erase point. You know what I mean? Plus, you don't have a good way of saying, okay, what is my adjusted income potential based on the law of averages, or the law of chances of this stuff closing. The other thing is, if you're doing it through the shared one, I can help you. You can say, hey, can you look at my prospective business and tell me what you think? You think I'm on track for my goals? You think I need to step it up? Because I can see and work with you with it because it's a shared Google Drive.
Yeah.
So personally, I think if you're not looking at something this detailed, for your business, then you really have an idea of where your business is at and where it needs to be. And you can put some goals in here too. Hey, how many buyer sales? What's my gross commission income goals for? This is going to be updated a little bit, but for the next couple of years. And it's a pretty simple spreadsheet to use. You insert lines. If you need to insert a line, you just click on insert, add a row, and then all you have to do is highlight the formula above it, and those 3 columns, copy, and then hit paste, and it'll add those formulas back in. So I can, if you need help with the formatting, I can help you with the formatting too. The nice thing about Google Drive is if I've shared it with you, then I can go in and format things for you if you're having trouble with the formatting or whatever, or something Google Drive does that you're like, oh, my numbers are messing up in there. I can help you with the formulas and stuff like that. But it's a great way to kind of keep track of your business, I think. And your goal should be, if this number is not looking good, well, how can I start moving people in here? How can I get buyers viewing homes? How can I get new prospective business in here? Barbara, I would add into prospective business, I would add that listing so that it's a reminder for you to prospect those people that are in that list. And you want to constantly thinking, how can I get new people in the list? How can I find new leads? How can I move them up the ladder? And really, it's a daily working. That's one thing you got to think about. You got to think about, first you got to make a commitment to prospecting when you start thinking about your business plan. How many hours a day am I going to prospect?
And also one thing that I wanted to say, because I already did my business plan for 2018, because of course of the 2 months left, so kind of I already planned. So kind of the average numbers of how many of the buyers leads you actually going to close by how many buyers, and the same thing with the listings and stuff like that. And to actually, so pretty much how much money you want to make, how much buyers you are mainly working with already, and what's the number of listings you usually carry. You kind of get the percentage on that, and also so pretty much based on that, you think the number how much you want to make in 2018, and you got to divide it. Let's say the 25% going to be your sellers, 75% going to be your buyers, and pretty much everything is the number. You know what I mean? So like for me, it became I need to have 6.5 buyers. I cannot have it's not a buyer enough. I'm gonna have to have 7 buyers, new buyers, and 2 new listings every single month for me to reach my 2018 goal. That's like so. But the real number was for the listings. I need to list every month and have I think it was 10 or 11 buyers that I need to sign up, and only this amount is going to really close. It's going to be 2 and 7.
That's good, because then you're at least not saying, all right, I only need 2. You know what I mean? You're counting on the fact that some stuff fall apart.
Yeah, because it's like only 65% of your listings.
It depends on how good you get. If you want to take
Every year your percentages should change.
It should go high.
Yeah, the more confident. The way I look at it, if I'm taking a list, that's not what they just sell.
Yeah.
So, but I'm realistic. You don't, so I think 90% of the listings I get sell.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Buyers, I have a really good thing with buyers because
85%. That's what it was. 65% it was for the buyers.
I won't work with buyers unless number one I'm under contract and they refer to me.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but referrals are strong. It's not like you're getting a lead off of real.
I mean, the other thing is when you start to do your business plan, and I'll send this out to everybody again, and you should start to work with this. And it's not like you're going to have thoughts. No business plan should ever be developed in a one-time sitting. That's why you should start working on it now. Start working on it now. Start thinking about, okay, what do I want my business to be? Where do I think the business is going to come from? Talk to somebody about it. If it's not me, it's Matteo, it's Louis, it's someone start talking about it. You need someone that can bounce these things off of. That's in the business. And then you need to start to think, okay, where is my business going to come from? So how much business do you do by referral now?
I did 4 or 5 closes.
Okay.
It's about 25%.
Okay.
Every year it's gonna go get better, guaranteed.
Right. And one of the things that I thought was kind of profound at the convention, it wasn't Brian Buffini, it was actually Bill Workman. So there was a couple of really good trainers at the convention. Brian Buffini, who we all know, is just incredible at help you develop referral business. And Burl came on. He actually, in the private session with our region, we're actually probably going to be launching his training program. He's got a buyer agent mastery program and a listing agent mastery program that's about 30 hours each, and they're in 20 to 30-minute segments, so you don't have to like kill your brain sitting through 30 hours at once. And they actually have an admin mastery program, a team leader mastery program. It's got some really good stuff. And he basically said, you know what, Brian Buffini's stuff is great. But if any agent tells me that more than 50% of their business is by referral, like I'm telling them that they're only reaching half the potential. You know, because you're either not putting money into marketing that you're bringing in more leads, you're not marketing your listing because you should be getting a natural number of return of new business off your listings, or you're just basically sending out thank you cards and not really pushing the business. So you have to start to think, okay, how much business am I gonna get this year by referral? If you're new, it's kind of hard, but you kind of have to say, well, maybe I'm really working my referral tree. I should get 3 or 4 pieces off my referral tree. And then where does that other business going to come from? I think too many agents in this modern day real estate world are focusing too much time on just buyers. Because it is kind of easy. Throw a marketing piece, you throw your website out there on your personal page, you do some ads, you get a bunch of buyers who register on the site that drive you nuts because none of them want to commit to you when you're working them hard, trying to get them to convert. Or you have things like the OpCity program with 35% referral fees, and honestly, 35% is, in my opinion, a good deal on a referral fee, because if you look at the cost per lead, we've averaged it out between $400 and $600 it'll cost you to buy a piece of business. If it's a $5,000 closing, what's that? That's almost 10% right there. And then all the time and energy it takes you to work the leads, and if you're the conversion ratios are never on those kind of leads, never better than 2 to 3%. So it's taking, you're working 100 leads in the system to get, closing, maybe 2. And you're working the time it takes you to sit down on the computer and keep tripping on them and keep poking them and keep calling them, get that 1 out of 100. How much time does that take?
Well, I have to say one thing, because like for me, I do the realtor.com, I do Julia and Zillow, and one thing that I'm looking at is my investment and what's my return on investment.
Right.
If I'm not gonna, if I'm gonna spend, let's say, $1,000, I want to make that $4,000 next month, because I need to at least triple that, if not 4 times as much. But if I'm not getting that, it's not worth it.
Feel like you're getting it now?
I get it. That's why I kind of also grew my leads. Because I was just like, okay, I'm paid this much, especially in the springtime. Return was great. Let's invest a little bit more. Kind of got slow the past couple months, but now I'm seeing the whole thing picking up again, and it's been doing better.
Yeah. How many others are doing Zillow.com and Zillow? So are you doing any of those? No. I can tell you one of the top teams in the country I talked to, they closed. The team leader made $1 million net. Freaking money. They spend about, what did he say he spent? $20,000 a month on Realtor.com, $20,000 a month on Zillow, and he's not at this point converting them his own. He's got a whole internal crew like what we have going on with Nadine that's trying to convert those leads and work them and turn them into appointments. And he's got buyer's agents that go out, not going to buyer agent appointments. So he's running the team, but the concept is still the same. That stuff does work. It's just, I think too many agents get frustrated with the fact that there's a large cost to it.
And one thing not knowing how to work through, because when I speak to those people, then I meet them, they tell you right away, oh yeah, I told them this property or that one, and why they decided not to do what I put it with the agent they first contacted was the approach they got. Was literally like just met you on the wall. I just got you on the phone. A minute later, I'm asking you how many kids you have, how many people on the lawn, you know, and all that stuff. And people get frustrated with that. It kind of creeps out now from what I see. So it's also the way how to work the lead. And I did have a couple agents who I heard next to me when they were calling the lead. I was just like, refer out.
Yeah. Right.
Internet leads have to be slow. They call it incubation. You have to slowly build a relationship. Not, you know, hey, let's get together. They don't want to meet anybody.
Right.
Just don't. I mean, old school is our goal was no matter who we talk to, how we talk to them, our goal was to get face to face. And if we came up, hey, let's get together, just saying, next, I'm not going to go see you.
Right. I was talking to Chad, the guy that did those kind of numbers. He knows the numbers well. You got to know your numbers well too.
He knows. He's dynamic. He's just a regular guy.
The cost of procuring a lead is about 10%. So his average price is about the same as ours, so it's about $500. He knows that he can procure a piece of business $500, but there's a cost that goes with it, and that cost that goes with it is the conversion. And either you're doing the conversion and you're working conversion daily and you're calling daily, or you're outsourcing. He outsources it to his conversion team, and it costs him 15% to convert it. So where Alp City's charging us 35%, the reason why, they're paying us 25%. Their cost is 25%. Their profit on it is 10%. So the numbers are always going to work out. It's just whether you can stomach it or not. And like some agents are just have a hard time with it because they want the instant gratification. If that's the case, then you got to work with a company like Alp City that's just going to get you on the phone and say, here's your buyer. And just update the app weekly with how it's going with that buyer, but here's your live conversation versus, you know, the Realtor.com and Zillows are probably like a secondary kind of what I would call a secondary level of instant gratification where someone's requesting information on a property. You have a better chance of closing them because they're actually requesting information on property. You got to still be quick and fast and good because other agents are getting those leads too. But they're requesting information on property. And the third level, which takes a much longer incubation period, is the conversions. You know, using your website to register somebody that saw a listing on Facebook, that decided to register on your website and maybe not thinking about buying anything for, I mean, maybe, you know, we've had people say, oh, next year sometime, just browsing right now. Just browsing right now means sometime in the future I'm thinking about buying a house. I mean, there was another report that said that
700.
from the time somebody starts thinking about it to actually buying a piece of real estate, it's somewhere around 50 to 18 months. That's like the average.
So real estate's an investment. As agents, you have to invest to be successful, and you have to invest time and money. You can invest a little bit of money, but if you only put a little bit of money into growing your lead source, you're going to invest a lot of time. Going door knocking to open, Saturday afternoon. Hey, I'm hosting an open house here tomorrow. That's a great investment of time. Costs you very little for money, a couple bucks for gas. But you can go to Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com and spend hundreds of dollars, much more money. The quality of leads are going to be less than face to face. But you have to, when you're newer, you probably got to find a mix, and then as you get more mature in the business, not older, your dollars go down, and your dollars go down, your time ought to go up. When Tracy talked to this guy from Pearl and came back to me, because most of my business is from referral. He says, if you're getting at least 50% referrals, you're leaving a shitload of money on it. Oh, and I am. I know I am. I suck at follow up and follow through and checking with people. So I probably lost $100,000 over the last couple of years because I didn't work my sphere properly.
That should trade that guy. All that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
What does that happen?
Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I got a conference with him on Thursday.
Is this Burrow?
Rural, yeah.
And he has a system where you track points, like calling an internet lead or emailing an internet lead might be worth 1 point, but getting face to face with somebody might be worth 5 points. So he prioritizes and assigns the things that are harder to do, those are the ones you get better points on. Just like some people are just terrified to meet people. So going to door knocking, you had a great success with that and you enjoyed it.
I did, I liked it.
Other people just, oh my, you want me to actually go knock on somebody's door that I don't know in a neighborhood I've never been in? Right. But people need to, in order to be very successful, you have to step outside your comfort zone. They call it eat that frog. The hardest thing you need to do today, do it right away. The rest of the day should be a breeze. If you take that hard thing and just postpone it, you know it's there in the back of your head, so your day is not going to be as successful as if you kill that sucker first thing in the morning. One of the things this guy says, if you've got 2 frogs, eat the ugly one first.
Yeah, yeah. So you start testing good systems for like daily prospects like that, like you'll set, say your goal should be 60 points in a day. That's a perfect day. Like I want to ask you, what do you say? I don't want to ask you to do it 7 days a week, only 5.
Yeah.
But it is about that. It's about self-accountable and figuring out your numbers. And at the end of the day, a portion of your business, if you say your goal is 30 deals, and you know that you've got 4 or 5 in the pipeline now, and you're going to have to work hard at finding another 10, the other 15, you can really say, okay, $500 expenditure, I can per deal, I can buy 15 leads. So 15, that's $7,500 if you put towards the right marketing, $750 a month. You're going to get a certain number of closes from it. You got to figure out how to convert yourself, or you have to find another company to convert for you, or someone else can help you convert. But it is possible. It's quite a few years ago, I had an agent that came from the tech world, and he actually went on and, that's Mark Sock, we went on and started donated office, but he bought his way into his first year in the business having a very good income because he had the money to invest. So it's possible, and I think every agent that wants to grow the business should have a portion of their business that comes from a marketing dollar that you track and know what you're spending and know what you get for conversion on it. And go from there. So, business plan. What other things should you be thinking about in the business plan? I think everybody should have a listing focus. And a listing focus is how many listings do I want to take next year? Figuring that, if you're not like Maddie, probably 75% of them should close. So if you want, the nice part about listings, I still believe that you can, if you're marketing your listings, I still believe that you can assume that you'll get a certain number of sales from having listings. If you got 12 listings, I think you should be able to get 4 or 5 spin-off buyers from it, at least, if you're doing things right. So everybody in the business plan should really think hard about my listing focus. Where am I going to find listings? What am I going to do? Am I going to work, let's talk about some of them, expireds. There's not a lot of expireds anymore, but this time of year you will have some expired, you'll have some cancels. And who's to say that listing agent is either A, going to follow up until the seller wants to sell in the spring, and who's to say that somebody can't come in and say, well, I see some things that we might have been able to improve to maybe have gotten your house sold in the fall. It's not guaranteed that they're listing with the same agent. So maybe you think about, okay, I'm going to have, you got to think about what's my focus going to be on listings. How much time am I going to spend to prospecting expireds, for sale by owners? Those are sellers that kind of raise their hand and said, we were trying to sell. Those are kind of
They're not as scary as cancels. For sale, expireds, they already have the house on the market, so they wanted to sell, they didn't. So it may have been a bad experience or no emotional experience. Canceled, for some reason, something went bad if they canceled it. So when you approach cancels, you have to be more cautious. But for sale by owners, those are, when I first got back into the business, I just worked exclusively for sale by owners. I called, and I was a pleasant, persistent pest. I called to say, hey, I see you have an open house on Sunday, mind if I stop by? I saw you sign in the yard, mind if I stop by? I just kept going and going, and I did it. I wouldn't call them like every couple of days. I'd probably call them every 5, 6, 7 days. But I had a little index card and I wrote my conversations down and I just kept going and going. Eventually, because nobody else is calling them. Some good agents might call 3 times, but they said the success ratio of calling for sale by owners, anybody in general, like maybe even internet leads, is like the 7th time. So most agents quit before they get that.
That's always the hard part. You know that Op City, I asked them what their conversion plan was. It's 26 attempts. They call them 15 times, they call them 12 times, and then there's a series of texts, and if they have an email address, a series of emails. 26 times.
To meet again.
That's a lot.
That sounds about right.
You're living a dream.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not.
And so long as you understand that's the way it goes, I mean, and if this company's doing that work for you, you should pay for it. Right? And that's why.
With any prospect, they say that the average number of follow-ups is like 7. If you want to convert an expired or sell by owner, have to reach out at least sometimes. Think that they're going to list with you or go with you after a couple of contacts or one mail piece. If you're doing mailing to expired, you got to do it monthly. You got to, at least monthly. If you fill out a list of, let's say, 100 that you're going to work, that were on the market this year, on the market last year. I would even go back and look for expired a couple of years ago that haven't come back on the market. Develop a list of 100. And if you work them all year, mail, call, door knock, you can't tell me you're not going to get a couple of listings. At least a couple of listings from 100. It's just too many times I see, I sent out 100 letters, I didn't get anything.
Okay, so my work here is done.
Right.
So that's just the beginning. That's just that's like
the first time they saw your face.
that's like winking at a girl across the room at a dance. You did something, okay, but now if you never look at her again, guess what's going to happen? Nothing.
I don't know. I didn't get a date. I winked at her. I didn't get a date. It's true. It's true. So
Write that shit down.
What else?
Going to believe that again?
what other ways can you go out to listings? Your websites have a seller value page on them. You can run ads, try to get seller leads through Facebook and advertising. I've been using a company called ClientCreator.com. About $300 a year, and I've been terrible at continuing to do it. But I spend $700, and I've got a listing that should list soon. That's $600,000 each. And all it does is it basically you put an ad out on Facebook that says get your home value, and they arrive on the website, and it actually geo-tracks whether the IP address is or the phone is, and it says, is this your address? And if they click yes, then whether or not they fill out the whole home value form, I get at least their address. So then I can add them to a mailing list. So I was getting addresses for about $5 to $10 an address, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's
I'm
just not,
thinking about doing something.
if you got 100 of those and you keep working and working, that way. I got $600,000 from $700 now. I'm personally going to start working that through January, February, and see how it works, and I'll keep you guys updated on how it's working. But there are other ways of just expiring to sell owners and try to find sellers. We've had some new agents that just go out and they find streets that have had, that might have like ranches or, if you're thinking about sellers, who's going to sell? Like, what group of people can you think of that are potentially going to sell in 2018?
Empty nesting. Empty nesters.
Having a baby.
Right?
Yeah, having a baby. And family, they need more room.
If they own a house already.
Yeah.
Millennials.
And honestly, you could demographically target those kind of buyers with Facebook ads. You can you can choose in the demographics, own a home, and kids under a certain age. And you can demographically target them. That's one way to do it. Another way is to say, what if someone's going to be upsizing, where do they live now? They live in a house that's probably under what? How much square footage? 1,200, 1,300 square feet. They've owned it for how long?
Years, maybe.
Maybe 5
5 years.
5 to 10.
Up to 5 years if your career is starting to take off or your
Yeah.
student debt's going down.
So think about it. If you were 30, 28 to 32, you bought a house, 1,100 square feet. You had a baby. You and your wife are doing well at your job. What are you thinking? Time to upgrade. So you can go into MLS Public Records, and in the public record tool, you can put in a time frame for when that property last sold. You can put in the various criteria, the square footage. You can say, personally, I don't like listing homes under 900 square feet. They're tough to sell. So maybe 900 to 1,300 square feet in a certain town, and it'll pull up the whole list. What you do with that list, you could then create a mailing piece for that list and target your message to that potential client. Not just, hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling, call me. Hey, if you've been thinking about, if you're getting cramped in that house, maybe you find a good image to put in the letter or in the mail piece, or you find a good postcard. There's postcard companies out there that have feeling cramped, or is it time to upgrade? All kinds of messages like that. Start mailing them. Or what you'll see is if you see that list of public records, you might start to see streets or areas that have a higher percentage of. I mean, we all know if we drive through, for instance, like Shrewsbury, or I'm sure Alvin has these neighborhoods too, where they're lined with branches and small capes. Those are areas that are great to door knock, or just go on the coal directory, which we have, and print out a street list of phone numbers on that street. Call them. Try to start working for listings for 2018.
People always say, oh, there's so many houses for sale in this neighborhood. They think, what's wrong? That's automatically human nature thinks what's wrong. The reality is, when this was a brand new subdivision, where they built these small mansions and capes, that's where people wanted to go. So now they're all moved in there. They all have better jobs, student debt's down, and 1.3 kids. Now they're looking to move out and they're saying, wow, freaking Barbara just sold. I think it's my turn. So those things. New statistics. And the reality is, neighborhoods go through cycles. When they're brand new, everybody moves in, and then when people move out, they don't all move at once, but the majority of them do make those changes. So
it's like Tony said, the neighborhood he was in last neighborhood, he sold a few houses, I think, in there because the whole neighborhood is transitioning.
yeah,
They're all older now. They have no kids. There's neighborhoods like that where you'll find that the houses haven't sold in 15, 20 years. You could do the same thing with public records, looking for houses and put a range in there that's, from 20 years ago to 15 years ago. Meaning they might have bought that house when their kids were young, or right before they had kids. They bought that bigger house, and now they've owned it more than 15 years. There's a good chance that those kids are going off to college. They're already in college, and those could be great neighborhoods to go after for the, hey, this house is too big for me, and those are great to go after. I think in the middle of the winter, they start getting those heating bills.
tired of paying high heating costs.
Right, and that could be your message. Like, did you just throw another $600 towards your oil tank the second time in the last 2 months? Maybe it's time to start thinking about downsizing and spending more of your money on the things you enjoy doing instead of a big house.
The other possibility, you can chase dumpsters and yard sales. It's usually a sign that people are on their way out. They might already have committed to somebody, but there's a possibility.
So go in there with a pocket full of cash, in case you want to buy something. You hand a couple of business cards.
Even renovation crews, honestly, even look through MLS and find the bank-owned properties that have sold in the last 3 months and drive by them if there's contractors on site. There's my guess is there's a much higher percentage than you would ever believe of investment buyers who buy that property and don't sell it with the agents they use to buy it.
I think Mark Sacco bought one at the end of my street because I saw his truck there.
Oh, yeah.
Or he's already in there getting his foot, feedback.
Okay.
Small ranch.
Yeah.
Small cave.
But it's a great opportunity. That, especially if you see listed and sold with a listing agent and it was a bank-owned property, a lot of investors, at the end of the day, they can be tough to deal with long-term because they have no loyalty. But it doesn't mean you can't go in there and get a renovated listing from them, because a lot of them will just say, hey, I'm going to a listing agent because, I think I'm going to get a better deal, or I get a better chance of getting that investment property by going to a listing agent, but they have no intention. Or that listing agent just doesn't even work the lead. They'll be like, okay, you just bought my bank-owned listing, and I'm selling more bank-owned listings.
Yeah, I don't have time to list your house.
They don't even think
I don't
about it.
even
They'll
think
go
about it.
after, who knows? Personally, I think every week you should, when you're setting your prospecting hours, and there's two things I would recommend. One, you do it in the office. There's too many ways at home to come up with, I got to fold that laundry.
I got to throw another load.
I got to make coffee.
I got to wash the floor.
I got I forgot, I got to feed my cat.
I got to cut my hair again.
And then you're like, oh, okay, it's time to go on my appointment. But it just, I think you gotta get somewhere and get in the mindset, okay, these are my prospecting hours. These are my hours I'm going to prospect. And I think you should separate your buyer prospecting time from your seller, from your listing prospecting time. Because it's too easy to say, oh, I got a bunch of buyer leads in the system. I'll just call half a dozen of those, and I won't really think. It's two completely different listing prospecting activities, in my opinion. And I think you should separate it. If you're doing buyer prospecting on Monday, you're doing listing prospecting on Tuesday, or vice versa. And so that you're solely thinking about, okay, what am I doing to prospect to try to get listings?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday listings, Tuesdays, Thursdays, buyers.
Yeah, you should. I always think you also should be spending a fair amount more time prospecting for listings with buyers. I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to make twice per hour, because honestly, that's what it was, twice per hour. Whatever you're investing for your hours, at least twice on buyers.
Can I ask you a question? How many hours would you typically expect to spend on a listing from first appointment to close?
Say 5 to 8, somewhere like that.
Anybody
Gotta
else?
be phone calls too.
Anybody else? The way I look at it is a listing, no matter how much work I do or how much extra work I do, it costs me a day, an 8-hour day or less. I got to meet them, I got to talk to them, I got to do my research, I got to look at the house, take pictures, or meet the photographer. I got to load it into MLS, I got to put a sign in the ground, and I do my own signs and a lockbox. And then when it's over, or as it nears the end, I got to go meet an appraiser. I got to spend some time maybe at the home inspection. Then I got to go do the final walkthrough, pick up my signs, and put everything back. 8 hours, that's it. In listings, 8 hours, that's it. You're done. You don't have to do any more. Working with buyers, you can spend 8 hours on one weekend with buyers and get into anything they like. So, dollar for dollar, high priority activities on listings are so much better. They don't eat your life away. I make a killing in real estate, and I work part-time. I got grandbaby, I got kids, I got houses I work on. I like to surf. The reality is, I work part-time in real estate, and I do very well at it, because that's what I focus my business on. Listings are the best.
Most teams that grow, the team leader ends up being listing agent and buyer, and the team members being buyer's agent. They know what their best activities are. Any other comments on that? Where you can find listings?
How do you get phone numbers for expired listings nowadays? Is there any such way? Everybody's on cell phones, no directories for cell phones?
We have a cold directory, which I've put up, if you go into the private Facebook group and on the left-hand side, you find the little search box. Put in Cole, C-O-L-E directory. There's a login for that. You can log in and try to find phone numbers for expires.
C-O-L-E, Cole.
C-O-L-E, yes. We have a directory that agents can sign into and look up addresses. And you'd be surprised, they'll find a decent number of phone numbers and sometimes cell phone numbers associated with that. I don't know who they're getting that information from. Supposedly, it's one of the same resources the FBI uses to get phone numbers. So, I don't think anything is with private.
Your cell phones?
No, there's no in of itself directory for cell phone numbers for that.
I got a call from Sprint, and I got Sprint saying, oh, you know, I'm at the Webster Square, which is the closest one to me. So somehow they know by my phone number where I live, which is, there's things where people can search something. I don't know.
As you open up your pen, they're gonna get you.
Oh, could be.
Like,
Right. I mean, let's face it, pretty much, unless you don't sign up for anything, don't put your name and your address and cell phone number and anything these days, then the chances are pretty much the internet world knows everything about us. I mean, Facebook certainly knows everything about us. And when I started to find out that you could demographically target homeowners, renters, income levels, whether you have children or not, and found out that it's not the stuff that I'm doing on Facebook that allows Facebook to know everything about me, but Facebook is buying all this data from Google, from other resources, pulling it in and saying, we know everything about you, Mario. Shit.
I'm walking around like this.
Right? Pretty much they know everything about it. So a cold directory is probably the place I would start.
It's the old blue book we used to have in the office, but it's online these days.
Some prospectors will tell you if you can't find a phone number, make a list of expired to door knock, but don't just door knock that house, door knock 2 or 3 houses each way, so that you're not just, you know, wasting a bunch of gas money running all over town just to expireds, and you have a better chance of maybe earning something.
The seller of that house is a home. The neighbor is, hey, I'm just canvassing the neighborhood because I saw a house that didn't sell. I was just wondering, do you know the neighbors? How come it didn't sell? Have you thought about selling?
what is here in that phone, that's then what they get home.
So what are the things that you're going to run into, especially this time of year with talking to sellers is, oh, well, I'm not thinking about doing anything till spring. One of the questions I would ask them, anybody, is, well, yeah, I wouldn't recommend you put it on right now anyways, but what if you had the right buyer came along, would you consider selling your home? It's an important question to ask because, if, you know, I know a lot of us, and I'm going to start this private coming soon group for or off-market inventory group for our office and Facebook is say, hey, well, our office has a ton of buyers. If we ever had a buyer that might be interested in home, would you mind if I called you and maybe we could show them the house privately? You'd be surprised how many sellers would say yes. You know? Have you ever looked on Zillow and see all the people that just even register their house as make me an offer?
Make me move.
Make me move. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes people have their price. Or you have a lot of sellers this time of year that'll be like, yeah, I pulled it off. I just don't want to deal with it on the market during the holidays. I don't want to move during the holidays. I don't want to move in the winter. We're going to wait till spring. Okay, great. Do you mind me keeping your name and number and put here?
In fact, check with you once a month.
Right.
Something like
Right,
that.
exactly. So,
And then you can actually use what they say and turn it around. Say, yeah, you know, most people are thinking just like that. Would you want to maybe beat the market? What do you mean beat the market? Well, if everybody's doing exactly what you're saying, they're pulling it off and putting it back on a springtime, then there's going to be more competition. What if you were the only house that buyers were searching for? You might stand a better chance of selling. So whatever they tell you, you can try to turn it a little bit to help them think, oh, maybe why are you selling? If the motivation doesn't change, then they should still sell. If they were never motivated in the first place, then it doesn't make any difference. What you tell them, you can't change it.
the other thing I would ask sellers is say, oh, do you mind if I set you up for an alert to keep an eye on what properties in your price range in your neighborhood is selling for? A lot of sellers want to know and say, you know, it's always wise as a seller to keep an eye on the competition. So then what we go into conversion and set them up with a listing alert I might not do it daily because daily might annoy them and they might not subscribe, but set them up for a weekly listing alert based on their price range in their town. And they're going to get alerts from our website with your name and information on it, branded to you weekly, saying, here's your market update, which I think is a great opportunity to front out of a seller so that they know what, hey, this is what my competition's doing. And as we know, everything's about timing. If you weren't timely this year, between selling in May, June, and July, you're not making as much money right now. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of properties $20,000, $30,000 less, just because they missed that boat. So, you know, it is all about timing.
Do that through the website or through?
Yeah, through the website. Just when you log in the website, up right-hand corner it says quick actions. One is add a client. You just add a client, and then you set them up on the alert and there for their price range and their town, and they're just going to set them up, I would say, weekly. And it's a good way to keep them abreast of what's going on in the market.
So, that's a great idea. Because, I mean, if all of a sudden a house comes on the market and goes on a deposit right away, and it's not as nice as yours, you're going to get the wife kicking you saying, you son of a bitch, I told you we should have listed it. All right. Now we lost our chance. Get it on the market today.
Exactly. Yep. Anything else you guys think you should be thinking about when you're getting ready for your 2018?
How much time or money you're going to invest? Aim for what you want, but make sure that you're willing to give money or time into it. And there's a magic triangle. I was growing up in the business by Mr. Floyd Whitman. He says, close 3 times. Have you thought about selling? What about some of your neighbors, if they thought about selling? What about people we work with, if they thought about selling? There's the magic triangle right now. You go knocking on doors for buying or sellers. Have you thought about selling? Where are you going to go to and buy? And oh, by the way, who do you know that might want a career in real estate? So that's the magic triangle. Listing, you make money on listings, sales, and with exit, the formula is you make money if you bring people into the business. So always close 3 times and or ask 3 different ways.
I know Bill Nasby, his opening line is, oh, when are you guys thinking about moving? Or when are you guys going to be moving? If someone you knock on the door doesn't answer that question, then they're always going to answer, what do you mean? I'm not moving. Oh, you're not? Well, if you were to move, where would you move to? So there's things you can ask that will help address that. The other, that's what I was thinking about. The other thing to be thinking about as you're growing your business, and Burl Workman brought it up, and I truly believe it, and it's not that there's an easy solution. As a company, we'll hope to be able to help find you some solutions for this, but one thing Burl said is, if there's anything I would recommend to a new agent getting into business, it's to hire an assistant right away. Whether it's a virtual assistant, whether you team up with somebody else in the office and share an assistant. He said you either hire an assistant or you are an assistant. That hit home.
And I had like that top guy who was getting the trifecta award. I forget what they actually call it. But I sat at the leadership, when you win an award, you get to talk out with these people. And he woke me up, he says, yeah, you're doing really good, but you really need to hire an assistant to take that to the next level. If you have somebody who just had 4 stents put in the Monday before they came to convention, somebody like that. Yeah. You had dynamic people up on stage and dynamic people were in a crowd.
I mean, it starts by asking yourself, how much of your week is spent doing really low dollar work? And how many times do you let that stuff get in the way of your prospecting activity? If you had that, would there be any excuses anymore for you not to actually prospect?
No excuses. Get your asses out there and do it.
It's tough, but he's like, look for virtual assistants. What can they do? Could they work your conversion for you? Good stuff. Can they, load information into? Is there someone that can load information into MLS for you? Like somebody create the prospecting call list for you. So break down. He said, start by making a list of everything that you do that you feel is low dollar work. And then figure out, is there ways to start outsourcing some of that stuff, leveraging, the resources. Instead of, I told agents, that came into this, well, I got no money for it. Okay, well then go find somebody that has an assistant and try to make a deal with them. Try to make a deal with them and say, hey, can I borrow your assistant for a few hours a week, and can I pay you back double what you pay her on my first floor? Something. I mean, at the end of the day, most people aren't going to do that, but just have to constantly be thinking about the fact that if you don't have an assistant wear, part of one of the hats you're wearing is an assistant. We all wear different hats during the day. So, and part of the PD teaches as well is you wearing your CEO hat now, are you wearing your agent hat now, are you wearing fire agent hat now? The only difference between a large productive team and an agent doing everything themselves is a lot of those hats are worn by different people instead of yourself. So the hats are all still there. The CEO hat, the business manager hat, the listing agent hat, the fire agent hat, the assistant hat, they're all still there. You're either wearing them all or other people are helping wear some of those today. You can elevate yourself to a higher dollar per hour because, it's assistant level is the lowest, probably list assistant's probably the next one, a buyer agent's the next one, a listing agent's the next level, team leader's the next level, and that's where your progression of income is going to come from. So think about that as you go into 2018. If you've got some lofty goals and you're trying to make, I would say $75,000 or greater, you have to start to think about, is there any way for me to at least cut out a little bit of time from my week from that assistant level? If you even cut out 8 hours a week from your assistant level, that you could focus then on prospecting, how much would your business change? Anything else anybody want to ask or comment? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. My mother-in-law